So, Brian, can you walk me through the process of how you assess whether a homeowner's roof is suitable for solar panel installation? What are some of the key factors that you consider?
Absolutely. This piece has matured quite a bit over the years. It used to be kind of, you know, first we kind of stuck our thumb up in the air and said, "Oh, it looks like it's about 80% solar access," and we kind of had a tool that there's a lot of eyeballing, right? And then there was a couple different tools that would have been checked maybe with a site visit with a project manager that the Pathfinder was one, a Sun Eye was another one, and these were tools you could get the pitch and kind of some of the solar access by putting the device on the roof and taking some really basic measurements. Some of it did more calculations like the Sun Eye than the Pathfinder did when you did the calculations yourself. And now a lot of this is really done remotely through really advanced software tools that uses a variety of different measurements through satellite imagery. Some of it has planes flying over that are taking imagery as they fly, and we get more updated images through that. You have lidar, which is measuring the height and relationships of height between buildings and trees and topography. So there's really been some massive strides in advancements and in the tools that we have to get really accurate measurements for actual physical measurements between of roof sizes, pitch, and obstructions on the roof or on the property, and then taking into consideration the latitude, longitude, where the house is, the topography, and getting really accurate data on the potential for each roof or the site in general. So it's really been a massive advancement there. And when we boil it down, though, there's really three factors that we're looking for. And if we talk about these in general terms, right, as opposed to what the industry terms are, we're looking at the first thing is orientation to southern exposure. In this measurement is in the solar world is called azimuth. That's basically on the compass, right? So due south being 180 degrees is quote unquote perfect, and the opportunity to get the most sunlight throughout the day in the northern hemisphere. And then the second piece is really shading or lack thereof. So in the terms of the solar, it's solar access or sun hours. How many sun hours are hitting that surface that we're targeting to put solar panels on? And then the last piece is roof space, or how many panels can we fit compared to what your needs or what your goals are. And that comes down to kW system size, right? How many panels and what is the wattage and what's that fit going to be? So those are the three factors that really are going to dictate how solar is going to work on any surface and any site. I should mention that pitch comes into play as well on the roof surface, um, and what is that the tilt of the panels themselves as well, and that does play a role. And all those factors come together and to what's called the TSRF, or total solar rating factor, and that basically gives a score between 0 and 100%, and depending on the equipment and the setup, and that will TSRF will basically dictate how productive, how many kilowatt hours that system and that surface will be able to generate.
So, obviously, like you said, sunlight exposure, is crucial for solar panel efficiency. And one of the things that you mentioned was sun hours. Does the amount of shade that your roof might get, play into that number of sun hours? And how much shade tolerance do solar panels have? And when you come to the house, do you assess, things like nearby trees or structures that might impact, shade on my roof?
Absolutely, yeah. Shade's a huge indicator. It's really that's that second piece, right? Aside from which way your roof is facing, now how much sun is that getting, and shade is going to be the usually the key component to blocking that sunlight from getting into that. Now, could, like you said, could be trees or the building itself, like an adjacent roof surface or dormer or obstruction on the roof surface, or nearby obstructions as well. But generally speaking, it's trees. And fortunately, we have a lot of trees here in New England, which makes our area beautiful. But it also, for some sites, can be a challenge to getting the right mix of design and panels in order to make it effective for the homeowner. Fortunately, we have also plenty of wide open spaces, and that are the panels, like you're just asking. The panels have come a long ways and are more shade and snow resistant as well. And it's kind of one and the same, because when there's snow on the panels or if there's shade on the panels, it makes them essentially less productive. And some of how they wire the panels now and kind of set them up into either two different halves or different quadrants, depending on the manufacturer, that can give some key resilience to shade. So sometimes you can have some panels, older panels, you might have a little bit of shade on the panel, and it will shut down the whole panel. Now we can have shade on half the panel and the other half the panel is working, or shade on a portion of the panel and the rest of the panel is working. So that really comes down to working with your solar provider and professionals to understand the equipment and the science behind the site to find a solution that's going to work best for you.
So then, in terms of the roof itself, is there a certain age or condition that my roof has to be in order for it to be suitable for solar panels?
Yeah, good question. Sometimes this gets a little bit overlooked, right? So we want to make sure that we're going to install the system and have it be there for the long haul, and we want to make it a situation where it can be a set it and forget it type of scenario for the home, and they don't need to worry about removing it and roof repairs and so on and so forth. So we'd like to see a minimum of 10 years of roof life left in the system, in the roof. But a lot of times, that's longer than that, or if the condition of the roof is substandard, we'll recommend re-roofing before going solar, and then you don't have to worry about that for the long haul. So that is definitely a key factor. Another piece is that the structural integrity of the roof. So in every single project, we have an independent structural engineer do the calculations of the system that we're proposing on the roof substrate and the structure of that, to make sure that it's protecting the homeowner and their property, and that the solar system can be supported by their existing roof structure.
Then you mentioned pitch earlier. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Here in New England, we have everything from maybe a flat roof or close to flat roofs to like A-frame houses maybe up in New Hampshire that have an extremely steep pitch to them. How does that factor into that? How efficient the solar panels can be, and is there anything that you can do within that to kind of work around that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're on the 42nd parallel, right, and on the Earth, and so logic would think that, okay, so if you want to be 42 degrees, right, and square yourself up to the sun, but the sun moves throughout the year. It's lower in the winter and higher in the summer. So roof pitch does play a role in the productivity of that roof surface. I would say any pitch is good, because now you're lifting to get more year-round sun involved. And an extreme pitch might be better in the winter, but it might be a little bit less productive in the summer, because you're bringing that pitch up to meet the lower sun angle. If it's extreme, like you're saying, like a 60 degree on an A-frame or something like that, right? It's really extreme, but you're also now you're likely bringing more potential shading that's close by into the picture as well. So every roof surface really has potential, and between a flat pitch, where we can lay them flat in certain situations because maybe space confinements and we want to get as much power on there. If it's a big wide open flat roof, we have with tilt kits and variety of different options to be able to tilt the panels up. Usually we go to 10 degrees and that allows to bring more sunlight in throughout the year. Excuse me. And then, but you're really going to be cooking more in the summer months when the sun is overhead more and you're getting longer days and it's be more productive throughout the year. And then, so I would say that certainly roof pitch plays a role, but there are applications really for any type of pitch and to make it effective.
What about the type of roof that you have? Most houses here we have asphalt shingle roofs, but there's other things. Some people have metal roofs. Are things like metal roofs appropriate for solar panels? And are there any other types of roofs that you see?
Absolutely. We have old housing stock here in New England, and so we get every type of roof, right? We have wood shingle roofs, slate roofs, asphalt, like you mentioned, rubber, and a variety of membrane roofs, and even inside of metal, right? You brought up metal. There are a few different options there that so we see for metal roofs alone. We see corrugated metal roofs, which are kind of have a profile to them and wavy, and we see them. Um, in home applications as well as barn and outbuilding applications. Then we see standing seam, which is a little bit more of a finished and robust metal roof surface. And then we see now there's metal shingled style roofs that kind of have um, tiles that kind of clip together from the side. And all of them have a long lifespan, which is why they're attractive to homeowners as well as shed precipitation really well. But we have applications for all of those types of metal roofs, right? So there's certain installation methods for standing seam, for corrugated metal, and for shingled metal roofs as well. And then same thing with rubber or membrane or rolled asphalt or shingled asphalt. We do have applications for all those roof surfaces. Wood and slate, I would say, are particularly challenging and require a really significant amount of labor and are also a little more challenging to work on, and even I would say could be dangerous. The slate in itself is slippery. A lot of times they're on very steep roofs, and wooden shingled roofs, they could, if they're old and you're not aware that they're rotting out, they can give way, as well as they can get buildup of kind of you know slime and moss and be a little slippery. So there are some challenges with those as well. So we pretty much have decided to do everything aside from slate and wooden shingled roofs.